Hi, it's only been 24 hours since I recorded my last video, and in fact, I haven't even had a chance to get around to posting it yet. It is posting right now as I record this video, but I wanted to follow up on it. If you watch that video, I've entitled it Snooping, Shame, and Weight because there was an incident that occurred yesterday that made it apparent that I have some inner work to do around my own feelings of security. My history has been to try to get a sense of security from outside of myself, other people's opinions of me, or being in a relationship feeling like I was desired or wanted by a partner. And because of that, if my relationship feels threatened in any way, of course, that's threatening my security. And so I get nervous or anxious and try to do things to secure it, or at least to stop the threat from occurring. So that's a little teaser as to what was in the last video. If you haven't watched it, I'm not going to get into the whole story, but you can go back and have a look. And since that occurred, of course, when stuff comes up for me, my tendency is I want to examine this. I want to dig deep. I want to find out what this is all about. I want to resolve it. I want to heal it in some way. So I can't just let it go or treat it as a one-off or ignore it. It's something that has occurred because there's an opportunity for growth in there. So this morning I was having a conversation with my partner about what had happened for me. And we were doing a little bit of tracing back where I first had a feeling of being insecure about being left or about a separation occurring. And when I told him about a couple of incidents, a couple of stories or memories that I have, he said, "You need to tell these stories." And so here I am at his suggestion telling the stories. So the earliest that I remember, I don't know exactly how old I was, maybe 5, 6, 7, somewhere in there. I lived in Logan Lake, little tiny small town. It was about an hour and a half, maybe a 2-hour drive from Kamloops. And on the weekends, my family would drive to Kamloops to do shopping or whatever. And I don't know how often this happened. Our memories are funny, but what matters really is perception more than what actually occurred. And so my perception of this may be completely different than the actual reality of it. But of course, it's perception that matters. What I remember is being in the car. Myself, my sister, my dad up front in the driver's seat, and waiting for my mom to come into the car. And this would happen in my memory of it over and over and over, where my dad would start to joke around that we're going to leave and leave my mom behind. And I would get hysterical. I would cry. I would get angry. I would plead with him not to drive away. And at some point, he'd just get annoyed with me. Jesus Christ, Linda, I wasn't actually going to drive away. But I remember in those moments just feeling terrified that not only was I going to lose my mom somehow, but that she was going to lose her family. Even at that young age, I somehow had some empathy for how she might have felt. I was able to sort of be in her shoes. And so that's an early memory that I have about having fear around being separated from somebody that I loved, a terror around it. Another memory that I have, I don't know how old I would have been around this time, maybe 10, 11, somewhere in there. I was shopping at a woman's clothing store with my mom, and for some reason, this clothing store had a lot of stuffies in it. And I was looking at the stuffies while my mom was shopping, and I took an interest in these tigers. There was a mother tiger and a baby tiger. I actually still have the stuffies. My mom came over and saw that I liked them, and she asked me to pick one out. And I just had a hard time picking one stuffy, because they were a mother and a child, and how do you separate a mother and a child? And I really wanted a stuffy, but I was just like having such angst over having to choose which one to keep. And I eventually decided to keep the baby because I figured the mom could survive on her own if I took the baby away from the mom. But if the mother was taken away, if I kept the mother, the baby wouldn't survive on its own. So at least I could take care of the baby and the mother would be all right. And it was such a mixed emotion that I felt. I was excited and happy to have the stuffy, but I just felt so terrible that it was being removed from its mother and that they were going to be separated. Now, the amazing thing that happened, and I got teary when I was telling this story to Arnie this morning, is that Christmas, my mom actually gave me the mother tiger as a Christmas gift. And so I've had these two tigers forever. And it's interesting because I had other sort of separation things with my teddy bears. I had one teddy bear, again, a mother teddy bear that was holding on to a baby on its chest, and I would always make sure that that mother had its baby. And I would have some bears that clearly went together, you know, two dogs that look similar. And as a kid, I remember having dances in my room for my teddy bears where I had to make sure that they were paired together and that everybody had an equal opportunity to dance, that nobody felt left out, that nobody would feel rejected. So clearly in my psyche from these past experiences, there's been some kind of an imprint around being left, around not having somebody significant with me, being separated from somebody who's significant. And as a hypnotherapist, I know that these early experiences do have an imprint on your psyche. So if we touch a hot stove, we learn pretty quick, don't touch a hot stove again. If something felt threatening or uncomfortable or frightening or terrifying or anxiety producing to us at one point in our lives, the subconscious, because it's illogical and it wants to protect you, it decides, well, we're never going to experience that again. And so this isn't about blaming my dad for pretending that he was going to drive off and leave my mom there. It's really about looking to understand how past experiences might have affected me, what I might have believed about myself or about the world because of these experiences, so that I can work through them. My dad's actually a guy with a great sense of humor. He's just, you know, you can come up with any topic and he's got a list of jokes. Some of them I've heard so many times I could lip sync along with him. Great guy. But, you know, at the time, that was humor to him, and I just wasn't getting the joke. So my work this week is going to be to talk to that part of myself that has that fear around abandonment, that has that fear of being separated from somebody I love. Because I said in the video yesterday, I know that the fear that comes up for me in my current relationship has absolutely nothing to do with us actually separating from each other. In fact, our relationship just gets closer all the time. We're approaching our 5-year anniversary in a couple months, and you know, this is a great relationship. So the second thing I wanted to share with you, and this was kind of interesting, because if you listen to the story I told yesterday, basically in a nutshell, what happened is I have had a song stuck in my head. And it has been playing over and over and over in an endless loop. And the thing that has been really annoying is I have only one lyric that I know, or one line of the lyrics that I know, and I had no idea the rest of the lyrics, who sang the song, the title of the song. So what had happened yesterday was I went to use my partner's computer because mine's really slow. His was already on, and I was going nuts needing to know what this song was. And so I went in there to look up the song. And I ended up printing off the lyrics yesterday at the time. But with what happened, I saw an email from a girl that he had just spent some time with, an ex-girlfriend of his, and panicked and deleted it because I didn't want her to meet with her again. At the time, I never really looked over the lyrics. I downloaded the song this morning and read the lyrics and ended up singing this song like 3 or 4 times passionately in my car on the way in. And if you want to check it out for yourself, the song is I Try by Macy Gray. And it's interesting because the lyrics, I had no idea what they were except for one line. And yet this song was just going over and over and over in my head, the music of it. And it was like I couldn't get enough of it. I needed to know what it was. And it's interesting because here's the first couple of lines of the song. Games, changes, and fears. When will they go from here? When will they stop? I believe that faith has brought us here and we should be together, babe, but we're not. And then I'm getting goosebumps just reading it. And then the chorus is about, I try to say goodbye and I choke. I try to walk away and I stumble. Though I try to hide it, it's clear my world crumbles when you are not near. There are goosebumps just flowing through my arms. Our subconscious picks up information that we're not aware of consciously. You know how dogs can hear sound that's beyond our normal range of hearing? I know I've heard this song on the radio, and chances are the lyrics imprinted on my subconscious mind. My subconscious knew exactly what those lyrics were. And I believe that this song has been stuck in my head, trying to get my attention, because it's all about somebody who crumbles when the person that they love is not near. It's like my subconscious wanted to say, Linda, this is the issue. You got to look at this. And of course, the irony is that looking up this song actually led to me, crumbling because I was afraid my relationship was going to end because somebody was contacting my boyfriend. So I just wanted to share that little bit of validation that Macy Gray gave me this morning. because I really do think that if we pay attention to these signals that we get, to the insights that we have, to the memories that come up, to the feelings we get, to the songs that are buzzing around in our heads and won't go away, that we have a wonderful capacity to understand our inner workings. So again, my work this week is I need to talk to that little girl inside. I need to reassure her. I need to separate out for her the difference between, what happened with my dad pulling away from my mom, leaving her at the house, pretending he was going to leave, and where I am in my life right now. And as I said earlier, I really need to work on, and this will be part of my task over the next while, developing a sense of security within. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not abandoning that little girl. I'm not driving away and leaving her there. This is some inner work that I know is going to result not only in me feeling stronger and more secure within myself and in my relationship, but will also help me to take the weight off. So thanks for tuning in. I hope that that was interesting to you, and I hope that it inspires you to also pay attention to the things that you feel yourself feeling, thinking, dreaming, the insights that you get, the memories that bubble up, and the song lyrics that will not leave you alone. Take care, and I look forward to talking again soon. Bye-bye.